And it's a radio that runs 500 watts output and has a built-in antenna tuner. I go, look at that, huh? Something new.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's using some other way to get the power out. And I'm not sure. I never heard of it before. So if you get a chance, Bill, take a look at it and see what they're using there for a final. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I will take a look at it, Pat. Anyway, what are you running these days?
I'm running a G2, and various amplifiers. Trying them on my OM 4000 because Jim was asking me when's the last time I ran it, so I figured I'd plug the coax into that. And I'm running the same audio gear I always run, Bill.
Dude, I got to tell you, sound great, big signal up here. And, sounds as good as ever.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the G2, they're non-radios, you got your EQ, but you also have a compression for each one of those frequencies you can adjust.
Yeah, I played around with a Hermes light and a brick, and the CFC there, I think it is the compression, the frequency compression, and in the Theta software. And, it was kind of, it's fun to play with the software for a bit, but the Hermes light, kicking a brick, the QRP radio, kicking into a brick and then flipping over onto the tubes there, it's just, it was a little bit cumbersome there. Hey, anyway, I'm actually just heading up the house, or going back up the hill up here, but I wanted to catch up with you and let you know that I'm still alive there, over.
Okay, Bill, well, thanks for stopping by. And glad you're doing well. I've been thinking about where you've been. And but okay, on heading up to the house here. We'll catch you later. I take it you don't have a bike anymore, so we'll have to catch up on that stuff too, Bill. AF1S, KA1, CDE.
Okay, sounds good, Pat. Good to hear you. And also, Marty, haven't talked to you in several years, I think, but can hear you out of the great state of Maine here on the Mass-New York state line, putting in a good signal. The other guys here, Jim and Brian, both good signals here in Richmond, Mass. Anyway, this will be the last transmission. I'm going to head out. Guys, take care. AF1S.
Good night, Bill.
Coming in for you, Bill.
Pat?
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, KA1CDE, KB2UZY. How you doing there, Pat? Just want to get through my log here. How's everything going there, Pat? Over?
Things are pretty good here. Pretty good. Had a nice day. Turned out to be a nice day. Had the bike out this afternoon, driving around. Had a good time. And, I had a lot of fun. Everything's running good, so I was happy to report that. And going out on a bike ride on Sunday with the group of guys. There's some girls, too, women, a couple women. And so we're going out to a bike blessing, and it's Agawam there, Brian. You know where that is. So we headed over there Sunday. I hope it don't rain. I'm taking the motorcycle, not the trike. And what else we got going on? Nothing. Good day by all, for sure. I was wondering if the sun was ever come out, and when the sun came out, it got pretty warm out. I was on the bike today with no coat, and I was perfectly warm for sure. And I got to ask Jim. Jim, get me in the log there, Brian. This is KA1CDE. Jim, did you get everything wired the way you had it diagrammed, and are you happy with it?
KA1CDE, KC1TQN. I have done no wiring really to speak of yet. That's going to be tomorrow. What I did wire up tonight when I got home from work, I put that remote box that runs off the internet, off the app, to turn the flex on and off. I got that hooked up, and I basically just did a direct key line to the LP500 to my AL82, because that was real easy to incorporate that. I got the Y connectors, the wide adapters from Amazon today, a couple nice heavy-duty ones, and a couple long RCA cords if I need them. And I'm going to be changing all that around tomorrow. QSL?
QSL on that there. Did you install the doorknobs?
I did not. I have not done the doorknobs either. I just kind of want I want enough time to do it, so I figured tomorrow, and if it's going to be raining and sounds like a bunch of thunder and everything anyway, so I won't be getting on the radio anyhow, so I'll just work on the shack. I don't know if I'll get the doorknobs done or not. The main thing I want to do tomorrow is move around the coaxes, make sure that the RF path's good, move the key lines around, and just go from there, you know. But it shouldn't, I say it shouldn't, but it really shouldn't take a whole bunch of time, maybe a few hours, but you know, it's sometimes it's just never easy, you know.
W2FID. True. Sometimes things just aren't easy, and that's most of the time. When it is easy, it's the unusual.
Yeah, QSL. Well, Marshall just came in there. Good evening, Marshall. You got myself, Pat, Brian, and Marty in here. Just talking about the wonderful day. I'm sure you had a good day down there in Montauk, so probably just send it over to you, Marshall. Good evening.
Good evening. Very good evening to everybody. W2FID. All you Flex guys, you're behind the times. I was on 40 meters today. Actually, I had just finished with the guys in the Middle East were bombing in here. Saudi Arabia, Kuwait. I guess they're all on because Trump is out there. Anyway, Flex came out with a new radio today. It's called just from what I was just listening. These guys were on from Xenia, which was pretty good on 20 meters. I was surprised, but I could hear him here. It's called the Aurora, and it's a 500-watt radio without an amplifier. It's got a built-in tuner. It's got what I think is probably a Maestro type setup on some of the models. I didn't get, I don't know what they're calling it as far as model-wise, 6,000, 8,000, whatever. But you can't get it with or without the, it sounded to me from the conversation like it's a Maestro. It has a screen. And it is called the Aurora. And they get the 500 watts from something. The guy said he was there. I don't know. I didn't know who these guys were, but the guy that did most of the talking was there with another friend of his who some of these guys knew. And the Flex guys called it polar modulation. Never heard of that one before. Polar modulation. And I was kind of chuckling because he asked the guy probably a half a dozen times, explain that to me again. Just what, you know, and I was thinking of Pat when you kept asking the guy, why can't I get 100 watts? I'm supposed to get 100 watts. And he went around and around and around with you, and we finally walked away, and you didn't know anymore when we walked. That's what it sounded like. The guy gave a very long-winded explanation that nobody evidently understands about what the hell they're doing with this polar modulation. Anyway, it's called the Aurora. I didn't hear anybody mention a price. I did not hear a price, but all you Flex guys, you're behind the times. W2FID. Hello, Marty. Good evening, Jim. And who else was in there? Brian, I think, is in there also. And, of course, Pat. Good evening to you.
Polar modulation. Never heard of it.
I never heard of it either, and evidently these guys that were out at Xenia, nobody heard about it. They walked away. The guy says, I walked away. I think he said the guy's name was, not the guy from Flex, but the guy that their common friend His name was Dan. He says, Dan and I walked away and we looked at each other. Did you understand what that guy said? Nope. Polar modulation.
The unit without the Maestro built-in's about $6,000. It goes up from there. That's the cheapest one. And they said they knocked some money off the price already. Whatever. Now the finals, it's not a MOSFET and it's not an LDMOS MOS. It's some other type of final, and the efficiency is way up into the 90s. So because it's so far up into the 90s, it doesn't dissipate much heat at all. Doesn't need a big heat sink. And I believe it's 100% duty cycle. That's what they're saying, or it sounds like. And they can run it on a very small heat sink because it's so efficient. But polar modulation, it's a new one on me. I never heard the word before. This is KA1CDE, but I'll have to find out.
Yeah, the guy said 96% efficiency.
Yeah, I know. Very, very efficient compared to the MOSFETs, or like I got here. The solid state amp, it's probably about 60% efficiency, you know, but 96%. Yeah, I'm gonna have to research that, Marshall.
Yeah, that's way up there, you know. I mean, it's got to be. They generate heat, so there's got to be some loss there. I don't know, but that's the story. That's all I got, and I'm not going out to buy one, so I didn't know that it was out there already. As far as, where'd you find that on their website, Pat?
I think it's on Facebook page, Marshall, the Flex Facebook page. Because somebody was squawking. They're coming out with a new radio, but they haven't given us the pure signal yet that we're waiting for. And Flex responded back. The Flex administrator responded back saying, there's a new update that's going to be coming out, 3.9. We're on, right now I'm on, what the heck, what is this one here? No, I'm not looking at the Flex. So I think we're on 3.8. He says the new one's going to be 3.9. It fixes a bunch of bugs in the thing, and it's also going to have the adaptive pre-distortion built in.
Yeah, QSL. Well, obviously I'm not buying one. I'm not interested at this point. Well, I'm always interested, but I'm not going to buy one. And I heard this 96. I said that's like unbelievable, you know. Just the heat, it's gotta take its toll. But that's what they said. Polar, and I'm pretty sure that's what I heard the guy say. Polar modulation. I do know it's called an Aurora because he wanted to know where he got it, and I don't do any of those social media. I don't have a Facebook. Don't do any of that stuff. But I'll wait till it gets on their website. At least take a look at it yourself.
Yeah, QSL.
All right, that's all for me. I got to take a sip of my drink here.
Jim, and we got Marty.
W2FID, KB2UZY.
Yeah, Brian, how you doing? Just quickly, do you guys have as much QR? I got noise here that's, I'm almost up to an S9 on the static here.
Yeah, Roger, W2FID, KB2UZY. Yeah, Marshall, I got some harsh noise. I've been dealing with this for quite a while. I got about 10, 20, 15, sometimes 20 to 10 in between, and I got about 10 to 15 over S9. I hear you very well. I just wanted to get you in the logging system. And it's funny, Marshall, I go down to 0.860 and it subsides down to an S9. I come here to this frequency at like 10, 15, 20 over, depending. Then I go to 865 and it drops down again like an S9. So it's just right here, you know. And KC1TQN, I told him, I said, you know, I'm going to start knocking on doors and say, hey, I'm just about to get on the radio. Could you shut your main panel off until I finish? And Jim said, yeah. I think that they might find you somewhere in the bay, over.
Yeah, QSL. No, I'm talking about the QR Nancy. There must be some storms close by. I left the phone in the living room. Anyway, no, it's just noise from the band. I know what you're talking about. but that's not the noise that I mean. It's just noisy on the band.
Oh, no, negative. I hear a solid noise. Anyway, I'll flip it to anybody else out there. This is KB2UZY. Over.
Hey, Pat, just quickly, is that a 110 or a 220 or both?
I think it's 220, Marshal.
Okay, go ahead, Marty.
There's lightning pounding all around. Nothing on top of it.
Yeah, it's
How am I
noisy
looking,
here.
Marty?
Yeah, there's nothing. There's Washington, D.C., up to Philadelphia, D.C., up to St. Louis, all the way through to Montreal, lower quarter of Quebec, just different counties.
Sounds like a good night to disconnect when I get off the radio.
That's what I'm going to do. I did that last night, too.
I did too.
You're going for a ride tomorrow, right? Or is it Sunday?
Sunday, hopefully.
Yeah,
I was out today, though.
I woke up this morning with fog here. That's the first really foggy morning.
Yeah, we had fog here, too. I listened a little bit to the New York group this morning. I heard you get out there about 7:30.
They start that, it's like 20 questions shit. I got no time for that. A bunch of us signed out. I think there were 3 or 4 guys that just disappeared. You know, what's the name of the movie? Nah, you know, 1 or 2 of those are tolerable, but when it goes on and on, that's not my thing, so I just disappeared.
That's what the internet's for.
You're right, Marty.
I heard you the other morning at 3828.
Yeah, that's where I usually hang out when they don't, I get in there and there's usually a pretty good group of guys in there, but they, for some reason, this one guy keeps doing this question shit, and I just, it's his group basically. So that's what a VFO is for. Actually, I went to 10 meters and got out of there.
Yeah, I've joined groups on Facebook that people ask, does anybody know where you can get this? Does anybody know where you can buy that? And I write down what the internet's for. Call it square.
At least you get some knowledge that way. This is like who remembers what, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like doing all the questions on QRZ, that they put out there, the trivia questions.
Yeah, I think somebody's trying to come in. Somebody want to join? Was there a November something station out there? Huh. I better take another sip of this drink.
What's that, rum and coke?
Yeah, right. It's called, no, it's Doers. Doers on the rocks.
Yummy.
Yes, indeed. Keeps the ice cubes clean.
Marshall?
Yep.
Yeah, W2FID, we got KB2UZY. We got to go over our KB2UZY. He's got some nice old-fashioned, some nice smoked bourbon.
I was never really a bourbon drinker. One time somebody gave me a vendor I was doing business with, trying to remember, Jim Beam. It was like a bowling pin. I think they called it the pin bottle, or the pin something. That wasn't too bad, but I'm not a bourbon drinker. A little too sweet for me.
Yeah, Roger. Over to you, Jim.
Yeah, KB2UZY and the group, KC1TQN. Well, I'm on the Mark V tonight. I'm fine with being behind the ball on the flex stuff since I just got on the flex. And Pat, do you know they put the price of that app on the iPad up to $100 now?
No, I didn't know that. I paid $50, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah, they've doubled it in price now. $99.99 I saw, and I was like, huh. So it might take a few more days to hook the iPad up, I think. QSL?
QSL.
But yeah, Marshall, we'll be changing around some key lines and some coaxes and stuff, you know, but I had to write it down. I had to write it down on a paper and map it out. I'm going to have to follow that tomorrow. I just can't figure it out in my head anymore. QSL?
Yeah, QSL. That's what happens when you have a house full of radios and stuff.
Yeah, and I want to use them all. So, yeah, I got to get the Alpha 9500 going back again. And but yeah, it should be ready to go. But the Mark V and the AL82 are all on their own. I think I'm gonna set up, run it over to a port on the switch. So if I do want to use it on the AL1200, I can. But I won't be using the Mark V on the 9500 or the SPE. Nothing like that. It does better with the Ameritrons. It just seems to go better with those. And that's what we're going to keep it on there. Geez, I'm watching the news there at 6:30, and I saw all those people that escaped down in Louisiana. 10 people broke out of prison down there, and they weren't nice people either. They were in there for some pretty bad stuff, and they only caught one of them so far. So it's probably going to be a change in management or something. The police chief or something was on there and said that for people to escape, there has to be a severe breakdown in I don't know, insecurity or something. I'm like, oh, you think? Well, they're definitely not up to snuff if they all broke out. But yeah, it's like just like old Alcatraz or something. They used toiletries and stuff, pulled stuff apart, made holes, and got out. You know. So they're running around, and then I saw all the bad weather. I don't mind living over here, I guess, compared to those storms, the tornadoes. They can all have those things. That's pretty bad devastation there. All we have, we're getting a little bit more rain than what we need, but I'll take that versus what I saw on the news. Boy, it's those tornadoes, they're no joke. I'm glad we don't really get too much of that stuff here. Little here and there, but nothing like compared to what I saw tonight.
November 1, Whiskey Radio November. You're light, but I have you. Come on in with your name, QTH, and what you're running up there. Name here is Marshall.